Shalom, Holy Blossom. This week's Torah portion includes the command to keep an eternal flame burning on the altar, never to go out. An eternal flame, never to go out. And so we must ask questions about how to tend the flame, how to watch over it and guard it, how to fuel it, and how to share the responsibility to keep it from going out. The last few weeks, Israelis and diaspora Jewry have been experiencing very differently one from the other. I hear from family and friends in Israel that it's a terrifying time because an existential threat from within has never been known like this before in the state of Israel, and they feel they don't yet have the muscles and the systems and structures in place to know how to correct it, only then to take to the streets. Meanwhile, in the diaspora, we're experiencing these weeks in a very different way. I would call it a kind of healthy exercise to realign and reassess and recommit. Now, of course, I wish we had no need for this exercise, but here we are, and I want to call attention to what we've gained from it, what we've learned from it. First, we see that Jews who lean right and left are coming together in ways that they haven't in too long a time. They are listening to one another more carefully. They are in conversation one to the other, and they also are understanding one another better than before. Similarly, this healthy exercise, this challenge that we've taken up, has broken through the apathy that has been for too long a time now. The dramatic news from Israel has been strong enough to break through any apathy that we've seen over years past. And so many generations are able to speak to one another now, again, where they went quiet for too long a time because the conversation was just too painful otherwise. And now they're finding common ground. Similarly, we're feeling that the bridges between diaspora Jewry and Israel are being reinforced and strengthened. We are there for one another. We are supporting one another in all ways, and we see this as common cause. And finally, I would add that we're seeing a healthy and helpful coming together of the streams of diaspora Jews, where as president of the Toronto Board of Rabbis, I'm very proud to share with you a statement that was made just this past week. I'll include the link below so you can read it and consider it, and I encourage you to share it with your family and friends gathered around your Seder tables. Let this document spark meaningful conversation among you when you talk about next year in Jerusalem. What do you mean? And it begins, I'll just share the opening prayer. What follows are assertions of belief and faith. It begins with a prayer from our morning prayer service. Or chadash al Tzion ta'ir v'nizkechu lanu mehira le'oro. Every morning we say, let a new light shine upon Zion and let us all soon be worthy of its light. And this statement made by the Toronto Board of Rabbis calls attention to the word chulanu. Let all of us be worthy and deserving of a new light for Zion. Let us work for it, let us earn it, and let us keep that eternal flame burning on the altar, never to go out. We are also responsible for it. And finally, I'd like to call attention to something that I admire so much about Israelis and Israeli culture. While in the mainstream press and in the Jewish press too, you've probably been seeing the most dramatic and even violent images, and there have been moments like those, of course. But most of the time, most of the people in most of the streets of Israel now are singing. They are singing their prayers and their heart songs. They are singing their hope and their beliefs. They are singing their commitments to keep that eternal flame burning on the altar, never to go out. They are making Havdalah each Saturday night so that Shabbat can give way to a hopeful week. They are singing Hatikva. They are waving their flags and showing their love for their country. And all the folk songs of peace and the folk songs of heartbreak are also being sung in the streets of Israel now. I'd like to share one of them that has become somewhat of an anthem for these demonstrations. And again, I'll include the link below so that you can enjoy it in its fullness. The words, the poem, was written by Ehud Manor, and he says, "I will not stay silent because my country has changed her face. I will not give up on reminding her or singing into her ears until she opens her eyes." This is a unique kind of Zionism. This is a unique kind of love of Israel, Ahavat Israel. And this is a unique spirit that keeps that eternal flame burning on the altar, never to go out. I admire it. I take inspiration from it. I take courage from it. And I hope that you will too. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Chag Sameach. May it be this Pesach a time of renewal and resurgence as the world is waking up again.